Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Midtown USA. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all, depending on when and where you're watching this. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day, and I hope everyone is continuing to have a fantastic New Year 2018. All right, so this is episode number 11, and we are in a brand new game day from the previous episode, which was, of course, episode number 10. And in episode number 10, you may recall that we cut some grass, we baled some grass, and made hay out of that grass. And so I think when I had ended that episode, I think that I said something like we had a bell count of about 12 or 13 bells. Ended up getting 16 out of it because I had not ejected the bells, the last two bells, I suppose, that were in the baler. So I'm guessing that I said it was 14, but all in all, we got 16 out of it. So nothing major to write home about. Certainly didn't set any baling records from those two fields. But again, we cut those a bit early. They were ready to be cut, and we got one harvest out of them. And so I'm sure we will get at least one more, if not two, out of those two fields. We always have summer, and then we have fall should we need it. And of course, we also have our larger meadow, or our larger field up. Let's see, what number is that here? Field number 12, and that's actually where we're going to go right now. And we're going to spray a little liquid fertilizer on that field, field number 12. And then should we have time, and I think that we will venture down to the other two grass fields and go ahead and spray those. And that way we will try our best to kind of keep the fertilization layers levels up to where that we can kind of get maximum yield. Now, of course, we might be impossible to kind of do that with the two fields down below, simply because. Why is that? Because we did not plow those fields. So we probably will not have maximum yield from those two fields this year. And I don't know if we're going to play this map more than one season. I really haven't made up my mind. We've got a lot of things going on. We've got Thornton Farm that I'm playing. I've got this map that I'm playing, and then also, of course, we'll go out to skate here. Of course, I've got also cattle and crops that I have been really enjoying. I've got to say, it's been quite fun. Been quite fun with the new updates and everything. So basically, let me just bring up our map here for just a moment, and let's look at fertilization. So everything that we have, pretty much with the exception of our two southernmost grass fields down here, is at the medium level of fertilization. So we're going to have a lot to do over the next few days. And of course, we've got rain that's in the forecast. My gosh, look at that. The last day of spring and then the first two game days of summer, we have rain in the forecast. But then look at that. The sun comes out game days 3, 4, and 5, and we've got some nice warm temperatures. So, that I think is what our crops will need. And of course, we will need to get started fertilizing the wheat and barley fields first. That will need to be a priority. So again, if we kind of pull up our thing here, fields number 16, which is just to the right of us, field number 17, and I believe field number 15. Yeah, so it's this little pattern right here are obviously the fields that we're going to want to fertilize very, very soon. Possibly even maybe even later today, get started on that with maybe some hired workers, or maybe do it ourselves off camera. So we've kind of hit that time where we don't have a whole lot going on the farm, simply because all of the fields that we have decided to plant or sow, we have done so. And then so those are the seeds are in the ground. The fertilization layers are up to the second, the medium condition. And so really we're just left with the work that we need to do, which is continue to tend to our animals, keep them healthy, and keep them productive. We've got sheep, we've got cows, obviously on this map, and then just basically make sure that we get our fields fertilized up to the third level of fertilization. And then hopefully come midsummer, we're going to be dragging out the harvesting equipment to get the wheat and the barley in, and of course then bale that and get that turned around in super quick fashion, like I've been talking about now for some time. And then, might think, well, the seeders are done, but nope, we need to drag the cultivator and the seeders back out and get soybeans planted in at least two, if not maybe three, of those fields. So it's gonna be, when we get right into it, once the wheat and the barley come in, it's gonna be kind of busy around here. I do think. All right. So we are in field number 12 here. So let's go ahead and unfold this guy and get ready to spray some liquid fertilizer here on this grass field. We don't really have enough slurry to take advantage of any sort of free um, fertilization right now, and so we're gonna just go with this, and it'll work out for us. So we're gonna pull up here, and then we'll back up. Let me zoom out here just a little bit where we can see everything that we need to see, and trees get in the way there just a little bit. Back up here, and we're gonna, just to keep things simple because we got it, we're gonna turn on GPS here, because again, we have it. We're gonna set our course and everything. So all right, so as I said, I've been playing a lot of cattle and crops. I've been working through the missions, as you guys have all been able to see. I've been recording those videos for you to watch. At the present date and time, I'll just throw out that I'm recording this episode on the 6th of January, Saturday morning, the 6th of January. We've got some honeydew projects scheduled for today, some more home improvement stuff that we're doing. I think I'm going to be actually retiling the the tiles around the fireplace. The wife is kind of tired of those, and so I think those are going to come off, and we've got some new tiles that she's ordered that will be going down. So that is probably the project for today. Whether I want to or not, that is probably going to be what I will be doing later this afternoon. But yeah, been playing a lot of cattle and crops, and have been quite enjoying it. As of the recording of this episode, I have recorded the fourth, up to the fourth mission, and of course recorded the episode on how to configure the Logitech G27 controllers to cattle and crops. And I'll just remind everyone that may be watching this video, if you have the Logitech G27, and also if you have a joystick, I have the Extreme 3D Pro joystick. I did do a video a year and a half or so ago. I did this video even before I started doing Let's Plays on my Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel. I did this video, and it basically documents how I managed to get both of those devices working in Farm Sim 15. That was the game at the time, and then pretty much it all is still applicable for Farm Sim 17. But I did record that video for cattle and crops only because, as I had more or less mentioned, I was basically pulling my hair out with the simple fact that I was struggling to try to figure out how to get that going. I was having all sorts of things that was happening. For example, the biggest challenge for me was simply figuring out how, or even if I could, essentially be able to use my accelerator pedal and my brake pedal of my G27 setup independent of each other. In other words, it drives me up the wall And I know some people are okay with this, and that's fine. If that's okay for you, that more power to you. Who am I to judge? But I just detest, absolutely detest, despise having to press the brake pedal to reverse my tractor or my combine or my truck or anything else. Now, funnily enough, if I'm walking around, if I'm outside of the vehicle, um, basically the way the controls are working is I do have to press the brake pedal to back up my character, but that's okay. That doesn't bother me because I don't really do a whole lot of walking backwards unless I'm stuck behind something. There goes the 738 coming through Midtown, USA, right on time. She is, I believe. So I don't mind that as much, but obviously you do a lot of you do perform a lot of reversing and everything in playing the regular game, whether it be driving a tractor, cultivating, plowing, seeding, or whatever. And so I just find that to be quite confusing. And I've said this before, and I doubt that it's just me. Maybe it is. But I happen to know from having conversations with other people, and I won't name names, that I'm not the only one that oftentimes gets in their real life car or truck and starts trying to um, do turn signals with the right, usually on the right side of the steering wheel. Usually your turn signal indicator on, I guess, most vehicles, at least going back to the earliest model vehicle I've ever driven, I think, is a 50 something model, something, and the it's always been on the left hand side of the steering column. But on the right hand side of the steering column, on sort of modern day vehicles, is obviously your washer wiper controls. And I can't tell you the number of times that I have reached over there and I have pulled that thing backwards to turn, to indicate a right turn, simply because I've got my paddle shifters on my G27 set up for right turn is on the right side, left turn obviously is on the left side. So there have been times before I was able to get FarmSim 15 as an example set up where brake and gas was independent of each other. There were times that I would put my real life vehicle in reverse and then press down on the brake pedal, thinking that it would go backwards. And that's just from playing the game quite excessively, and then going out and driving in the real world. So thankfully, I will knock on wood that I do quite enjoy Euro Truck Simulator 2, and of course that came out. I had access to that well before I had ATS, because obviously ATS came out sometime after that. But there was sometimes that thankfully I never attempted to drive on the left hand side of the road, um, or the wrong direction, in other words. So anyway, so we're going to head over to. I'll just turn off GPS there so it doesn't continue to track there. We're gonna head around down by the railway station. I don't know if we'll catch the train or not, but um, I will tell you that the railroad is one of my high points. I know Farmer Klein has mentioned this several times himself, that he quite enjoys um, having the railroad and having it be the way that it is, the length it is, and of course the wonderfully done railroad cars, the consists and everything. Quite remarkable and looks quite great. So hats off to ccs101 for that. Adds such additional level of immersion to the game to have something like that in there, because if you are, well, regardless of where you live, this is not just a US thing. The trains in the UK are quite lengthy, And certainly they typically are not represented that way in any game, certainly not in Euro Truck Simulator. ATS is a little bit of a disappointment when you see the train coming through on it, because it will typically have, just one engine and three or four cars pulling it, or one engine and it's pulling three or four cars is what I meant to say. And so having something that's a little bit more representative of what we see on a regular basis, and of course I live in Denver, and as you all know, and so this is a huge Burlington Northern and also Union Pacific hub here in Denver. And of course, this dates back from a historic perspective of obviously Denver being a big sort of a big cow town back in the West. And of course, from the history of railroads in the U.S., typically, the railways came in and always tend to become a part of the existing towns that were in existence as the railroad completed its journey from the East Coast to the West Coast. And of course, towns that had a high population, towns that were had already positioned themselves as hubs for livestock, cattle, and stuff like that, obviously were targeted. And so the history is, sort of follows that. And so we see some pretty massive trains come through, um, freight trains. Obviously we've got Amtrak that comes from Chicago, that stops in Denver and then continues on to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then on to California. So we see that, from time to time. Well, depending on where you are, obviously, I don't see freight trains passing by my house. I do see we've got a light rail system, public transport system here in Denver that does come into the southern portion of the metro area where I live. But I don't see any freight trains around here. But like when my wife and I travel to Texas to visit my family, there is a stretch of the highway there where we will I would say all the way down through I-25 to New Mexico. There's quite a lot of train traffic, and then we sort of go off there in New Mexico and slice our way down into Texas there. And as a result of that, we will often see, if we're driving from Denver to my parents' house, which is about 1,000 miles, we will often see anywhere from 15 to maybe 24 different trains along that stretch, and it's quite interesting to see all the different trains and the different types of products and everything that they're transporting. So all right, so we're going to let's see, we're about 20 minutes into this episode. We're going to go ahead and just keep on doing what we're doing here, and I will just kind of do this a bit loosely here. Won't worry about GPS for right now. Let me though get a screenshot. Bear with me. All right, and we're off again. Got my screenshot, and we were having a discussion. Farmer Klein raised a discussion in his Discord channel. I think pretty much most of the folks that I follow, I don't think our good buddy Eustace Pharmer has created a Discord channel for his videos. But I do know that Doug Zorley and Farmer Klein and myself all have independent Discord channels, servers, and also then we have a Three Dudes Gaming Network Discord channel that I set up that's branded for Three Dudes. And so a conversation that Farmer Klein brought up on his Discord channel just a couple of days ago was whether or not viewers like you really care about the thumbnail. If you really look to that thumbnail to determine whether you're going to watch a video or not. So, basically the thumbnail, what I try to do with the thumbnail, and this is nothing that I thought of on my own. I think it tends to be the theme amongst all YouTube content creators, at least those that do, farm sim and truck sim kind of content, is that we try to create a thumbnail that is representative as best as possible of the tasks that we might happen to be completing in that video. So in other words, if I'm going to be doing spraying like this, I always try to capture or make the thumbnail image, which is also my title slide, I try to make that to be, illustrative of what the episode is about, or at least what a portion of the episode is about. And so Farmer Klein, we had this conversation on Discord, just a text conversation, and whether people, viewers like you, really were interested in that, whether that was sort of a determining factor, if you will, as to whether or not you watched a video or not from us. And I tend to think that it goes, it's possibly twofold, and I'd like to get your opinion on it, if you so desire, to leave a comment down below the video, or head over to my Discord channel and leave a comment. But I think my opinion is, I think that if individuals really enjoy a content creator's content, that they're going to watch their new episodes, regardless of what the thumbnail is indicating the activity is. It could just be a generic thumbnail that appears on each and every video, and I do have some videos that are like that, typically maybe live streams or other stuff that I have done, where I just use the same title slide, but I will put in the episode number, and I will try to put in like the season, if it's like late spring, early summer, midsummer, something like that, try to put that information in. But I may not capture a brand new thumbnail or screenshot from each episode to do that. So I think my opinion is that people that genuinely enjoy your content are going to continue to watch your content regardless of what the thumbnail says or shows. But are we going to hit that fence? We might. So I'm gonna play it safe and back up there, and not even tempt fate there, because I don't want to bend my boom there. We've done that before, and it's a heck of a thing to get parts and get that replaced and everything. So anyway, that's what I think. But again, if I think about it, and I try to always think about it with my Let's Plays with these types of series, and that is replace the thumbnail or create a new thumbnail each time. And of course, all it really is just within the software that I use for video editing and putting together, I use a product called Power Director by Cyberlink, and I've used it for a number of years, and it's worked out well for me, and that's just what I'm going to continue to do until it no longer does its job. But I basically have the title slide saved. It's a template, and all I have to do is just pull up that title slide, change the episode number, and then just basically add a new picture and a new image, and I simply recycle those and use the same one each time. So I don't know. What do you think? Does it really matter? I mean, if I show image of fertilization versus an image of harvesting, is that going to sway your reaction to whether or not you want to watch the video or not? And I suppose that for people that may not be sort of aware of your channel, they may not be used to watching your channel, that might trigger them to find an interest in an episode, especially if maybe if they believe that spraying or plowing or whatever is a bit boring, then they may choose to not watch that episode. But I think that for those that are genuinely fans, and I think that, I'm not bragging by any sense of the imagination here, but I think that I have regulars who watch pretty much any and all content that I put out. I know that I am that way with several of my friends, like Farmer Klein and Eustace Pharmer and Reefy 1952 and the Bipolar Prophet and Doug Zorley. I try to watch each and every video that they put out, unless I get busy, and then sometimes I get behind, and then sometimes I'm watching episodes a few weeks behind. But I try to watch everything that they put out because I enjoy their content, and I think that I have people that fit that same description for me, that enjoy my content kind of regardless of what I am putting together, putting out. And so I don't think it matters to that extent. But it is going to be something that I will continue to try to do. Thankfully, I have also figured out how to create a screenshot in, both a screenshot and also hide the HUDs in cattle and crops. So we're going to try to, I don't have, we can't see anything that way because of that big tank behind us. And I don't have Track IR working with FarmSim 17. I just don't, because again, as I've said before, because I tend to do most everything in external view, because that gives you guys the the best viewing angle from anything that we happen to be doing. And so that's what's important to you, and it's what's important to me. And so therefore, why I do that. All right, so we have wrapped up another episode. It is just coming up on 9 o'clock here in the morning, late spring, game day 8. We clearly have a lot to do, so I will be doing some stuff off camera. Over the next couple of episodes, there may be sort of a slight duplication of effort. So in other words, a slight duplication of tasks. We will be doing some more spraying here on camera leading up to basically mid-spring. We're probably going to do a dedicated episode taking care of our animals, just where we can do that. Again, I know I've done that in previous episodes, but we've kind of hit that point to where that we've still got a lot to do. We've still got a lot to address with our fields, getting our fields fully productive. And I want to stretch this out as much as possible. And of course, I will do some stuff off camera, but because we have so much to do, all of these fields have to be sprayed one more time because we have so much to do with regards to that. I need to be able to duplicate some of that effort and put into YouTube videos, because otherwise I sort of get behind, because if I'm having to play the game and I'm not creating any content out of it, then it's just it kind of sets me back just a little bit. But I promise I won't overdo it with spraying. There might be maybe one, maybe two more videos that have spraying theme to them, fertilization theme to them, and that's really going to help position us and get us closer to the midsummer time frame, when I'm hoping that our wheat and barley fields are going to be ready to come off those fields. And then of course that's going to be time to get everything prepped and get soybeans down. So anyway, I'm as anxiously waiting that moment as much as you are. So without further ado, I'm going to say bye-bye from Midtown, USA. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you watching my videos, hanging out with me, coming over to my Discord server and asking questions, or hey, just saying hi. I enjoy that quite a bit. And now that I'm not traveling like a crazy man anymore, I have found that I am available for Discord much more during the week. So if you say hi to me on Discord, or if you ask a question on Discord, you may not get an immediate response because I'm not constantly looking at the screen, but I do check it throughout the day when I'm at work, and I will respond if I certainly can. And so that's one way of reaching out to me. Obviously, the other way that you all have to reach out to Doug Zorley and myself and Farmer Klein and Eustace Pharmer is obviously through the Three Dudes Gaming Network. The link is down below the video. And then also don't forget about PCSG, one of the finest communities that's dedicated to the simulation-based gaming hobby. And if there is a question that you have, and if you can't find the answer over at PCSG, or if no one knows the answer to that question, then it's not a valid question. That just the expertise that is over there. We've got folks that are map creators. We've got modders, equipment map and equipment modders. We've got folks that have been playing the Farm Sim franchise since, I don't know, the FS9 days, maybe FS11, etc. We've got folks over there that are also following Cattle and Crops and Farmers Dynasty and Pure Farming and Pro Farmer and all of those other things. So head over there and do that. And then finally, last but not least, some of the extremely high quality content creators that you can find on YouTube that produce family friendly, good content, quality content, exceptional content, whatever word you want to replace that with. You will find the list of their channels down below the video. These includes friends like Eustace Pharmer, Farmer Klein, Doug Zorley, Doughboy, Reefy 1952, Icelandic Farmer, etc., etc., etc. There's quite a few folks down there. Visit their channels. They produce, Mark DuPont, they produce some of the finest content that you'll find in the whole of YouTube regarding Farm Sim 17 and even other titles from time to time. Excellent content, and I am honored to call most of those, pretty much all of those individuals friends. While we have never met in person, hopefully we can do that sometime. That would be fun. But while I have not met any of these people face to face, I consider them to be dear friends, and I feel that for the most part, any sort of favor I need, help I need from time to time, it's just an email or a private message away from getting their help. And the same applies here as well. They often ask me of questions, and it's just a great community, and you will be appreciative of the content that they put out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, please take good care of yourselves, take good care of each other, and come back here for either another episode of Midtown USA, Thornton Farm, or Cattle and Crops. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye from Denver, and this is Jerry, Grizzly Bear Sims. Bye-bye.